Good morning. This is Sujata on behalf of Riches Multi-Services Company, that is a part of Wealth Creation Group of Companies. So, कैसे हैं आप लोग? I hope सब अच्छा ही होगा. So, as you know, today my live session is on teaching and learning. So, first of all, I will take the introduction of our company, Riches Multi-Services. Riches Multi-Services is a brainchild of young entrepreneurs who are in their mid-20s and 40s and have vast experience in domains of industry, be it finance, health, education, astrology, and corporate training. The idea behind the entity is to provide the right guidance and solution to the problems of customers. It is a matter of pride that we are able to provide the solution of every household and business entity for their needs by having the different arms of our organization focusing specifically into the needs of our clients. For instance, individual or corporate house needs, investment consultancy, we have Wealth Creation Group, member of MCAs. Similarly, parents who were looking for the career guidance for their students, for their boards, universities, college admissions, people searching for the marketing solutions, we have our education and consultancy wing. The vision of this organization is to help every individual to get empowered by earning while learning, and in this process, just to help to build the nation. We have our presence at our reliable sales partners like Amazon, Flipkart, Club Factory, Shopmatic. So Riches Multi-Services is basically an investment consultancy, financial and legal advisory, and all types of insurance, online and offline education program, academic teaching. So for more details, you can log into our website, that is www.richesmultiservices.com. For further details, you can also contact to our following numbers, that is 9919979786 and 9650240044. For any query, you can also log into our website, that is www.richesmultiservices.com. So let's take the today's session, that is teaching or learning. As you know, it is an accepted fact that teachers are usually not born, but made. Good teachers nurture their knowledge and skill through the constant and deliberate efforts. One of the prerequisites to be a good teacher is to understand the teaching learning process in more depth. This facilitates the better appreciation of the teaching profession as well as the process of imparting education. This paper is intended to give an insight into the concept of teaching and learning for teachers who intend to excel in their teaching career. So as teacher, we tend to think that teaching is all about the teachers and our role. In fact, the most important aspects of the educational process are the students and what they learn. This leads us to consider what we mean by the learning. As you read the educational literature and more specifically education psychology, you will find many differences in theories and definitions. The word learning obviously means us to think of study and classroom related activities. We then think about the various subjects and skills we intend to master in school. But learning is not limited to school. It is happening in our day-to-day life. We start to learn at once after our birth by adapting to the new environment. And this learning may be deliberate or unintentional, for better or for worse, correct or incorrect, and conscious or unconscious. So every stage in our life is being molded to bring modification in our knowledge and behavior. A baby cries to make know the mother when he or she feels hunger, and gradually learn to cry whenever the baby feels uncomfortable in any situation, in order to get care from the mother. These changes in our behavior are brought by the experiences that we gain through the interaction with the environment and its people. So learning is basically the process by which behavior is originated or changes through practice or training. Practice बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. As you know, practice makes a man perfect. So learning is relatively the permanent change in behavioral potentiality that occurs as a result of reinforced practice. So what is the process of learning? How do individuals learn? What are the factors that influence learning? What are the components of learning? What are the strategies we could use to manage memory? In this unit, we are going to pose these questions and try to find out answer after going through this unit, which will be helpful in gaining knowledge about the process and concept of learning. So after learning, you will be able to find the process, to describe the process of learning, state the concept of learning, identify the factors influencing learning, use the strategy for better management of memory, gain knowledge about the method to improve the motivation in learning, understand the method of improving motivation. So what is the memory level of teaching? Teaching at this level is least thoughtful and memory plays a very important role. Emphasis is placed on the presentation of facts and information and its organizing. Thus, there is not much relation with intelligence, as cramming is the point focus in this level of teaching. Learning and hence teaching lacks insight. The facts and information at cognitive level are supplied to the learner, which he is stored in his brain and recalls this knowledge when needed. मैं आपको ये एक एग्जांपल से समझाती हूँ. Let's take an example like a teacher is teaching in the classroom. Fine. She is or he is teaching particular subject. Then he or she needs to know कि whether which students know the answer. मतलब exactly क्या है कि जैसे वो कुछ पढ़ा रही हैं तो he or she wants कि मतलब मैंने जो पढ़ाया वो बच्चों को पता होना चाहिए कि मैंने क्या पढ़ाया. तो वो क्या करेंगी, बच्चे से पूछेंगी. जो बच्चा अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स लेगा उसे वाहवाही मिलेगी, उसकी प्रेज की जाएगी. जो बच्चा अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स नहीं लेगा तो फिर उसे समझाया जाएगा कि आपको चीजों को कैसे समझना है, कैसे लर्न करना है. सो लर्निंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट, बट हमें रट्टू तोता नहीं होना कि हाँ नहीं हम तो बस रट लेंगे, 4 लाइन है उसको 10 बार पढ़ते जा रहे हैं, सारा दिन लगा दिया, कल एग्जाम है, याद नहीं हो पा रहा. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए. वी हैव टू फोकस आवर माइंड फर्स्ट. हमें अपनी ऑनेस्टी और हमें अपने डिवोशन के साथ उस बात पे फोकस करना चाहिए कि टीचर हमसे बेसिकली क्या कहना चाह रही हैं, क्या समझाना चाह रही हैं. बिकॉज जैसे ही हमारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर हो जाते हैं हम वो सारे आंसर्स दे पाते हैं जो हम देना चाहते हैं. So in memory level of teaching, the teacher is like a dictator who suppresses the independence, interest, and attitudes and competencies of the student and tries to impose the facts and information upon the students. So thus the teacher remains active and in contrast, the learners are passive receivers. So the teaching learning process is mechanical, one-sided with practically no interaction, that is, it is a teacher-centered. So signal learning, chain learning, and stimulus response, these all are learning that must be emphasized. So further the purpose of evaluation, traditional methods are used in the form of easy, short answers and objective type questions. That is, the student capacity to reproduce information is measured. So what is the concept of teaching here? So teaching is just a set of events outside the learners which are designed to support the internal process of learning. Teaching, that is the instruction, is outside the learner. Learning is internal to learners. You cannot motivate others if you are not self-motivated. Motives are not seen, but behaviors are seen. Is learning a motive or behavior? Learning is both a motive and behavior, but only behavior is seen. Learning is internal and the performance is external. So let's talk about the types of learning. Depending on the way of acquiring knowledge, depending on the number of individuals, depending on the types of activity involved. So these all are the types of learning on which we will study. So what are the factors influencing learning? We have seen that learning is one of the most important functions of our cognitive system, which brings about relatively permanent changes in the behavior of the learner. There are some facts that influences the acquisition of knowledge by perceived information through learning. So these factors determine the achievement of desired goals aimed in the learning process. The factors are psychological individual differences of learners, teachers' enthusiasm in classroom learning, environment and other factors. So psychological individual difference of learners kya hai? So the individual difference in the psychological, physical, social and cultural factors influence the quality and quantity of learning. The individual differences in the psychological aspects make the learners to differ from one another in the learning process. The psychology of individual differences of learners deals with the intelligence and abilities associated with the personality of learner, learning style and needs and interest of learner. The personality of learner includes their aptitude, attitude, motivation, mental health, and aspiration to achieve their goals of life. Next, teachers' enthusiasm in classroom learning. The modification in behavior of the learner depend on the nature and method of learning experiences gained by the learner. Teachers play a very important role in the teaching learning process as a facilitator of learning. By adopting the dynamic and efficient teaching techniques and strategy, a teacher could explore the talents of the learner and could progress the quality of teaching and the learning process. So learning of different subjects and the area of experiences could be enhanced by adopting the pertinent teaching techniques and strategies. The teacher should employ applicable methods such as a teacher-centered or a learner-centered and a number of good techniques such as memorizing, understanding, reflective, interaction, monitoring, just to enable the learners to learn their subject and the content matter. Next, environment and other factors. The external environmental factors such as surroundings, cultural and social demands such as the relationship with parents, teachers and peer. Information factors such as media influence the learner. Surroundings includes the factors associated with one's location, weather and people in the surrounding area, schedule and events. So cultural settings of the learner such as culture of their origin, religion and place influence the learning process. The learner's social relationship with their parents, teachers and peer group and mass media greatly influence the type of learning, intents of learning and the time required to learn a need of the learner. So we can say that learning is the most important factor of memory and improvement of memory to a large extent rests upon this factor, which can be improved by training itself. And improving in learning is mainly influenced by the following requirements. That is, we have the will to learn, we have the interest and attention while learning, we have to adopt the proper method of memorization, we have to follow the principle of association, we have the grouping and rhythm power, we have to utilize as many senses as possible, we have to arrange the better learning situation like calm and quiet atmosphere. The learner's internal factor, physical and mental health and emotional state, provision for change and proper rest, repetition and practice. So what is the role of the teacher? So generally the role of teacher can be categorized as traditional role, where the teacher is centered, and modern role, where the facilitator, that is the student, have to center. So there has been change from the traditional role to the modern role and the present context. The learning increases when the teacher builds on the previous experience of the student. However, individual learning differs and each individual learns at his or her own pace. Identifying the slow learners and individual attention of the teacher may be required. So thus effective learning is to a great extent based on experiences. Direct experiences are student-centered and participation in problem solving. While in indirect experiences, the contents are carefully designed and organized by the teacher. So what are the basic teaching model? Objectives are intended and learning outcomes written down before the process of instruction. General objective is only that the statement of instructional intent, student ability in general terms, specific objective statement of instructional intent, student ability in terms of specific and observable, usefulness of objectives, elements of objectives, terminal behavior condition and criteria. Traditional versus modern role. Traditionally, the role of teacher has been a purveyor of information. The teacher was the fount of all knowledge, and this suggests a picture of students sitting in rows in front of the teacher, who is talking and passing information to other students with the aid of the blackboard. While the student either listen passively or if the teacher is lucky, take their own notes. The modern teacher is a facilitator, a person who assists students to learn for themselves. Instead of having students sitting in rows, they are likely to be in groups, all doing something different. Some doing practical tasks, some writing, some not even in the room, but in another part of the building using the specific equipments or looking up something in the library. All of the students might well be different at different stage in their learning, and in consequence, the learning is individualized to suit the individual requirements and abilities. So at last, we will conclude in this topic is that everyone has understanding, resources and interest on which to build. And teachers have a critical role in assisting the learners to engage their understanding, building on learners' understandings, correcting misconceptions, and observing and engaging with the learners during the process of learning. So the paper gave insight into a few concepts of teaching and learning, especially at the higher level of education. Many countries make it mandatory for the teachers to undergo a formal course on education principle where the concepts of teaching and learning are taught. And however, this exposure to teacher is non-existent for professional teachers who entered into teaching profession without any exposure to the formal training and education. This sometimes may act as a constraint in the process of effective teaching and learning process. So I will only see that कि कोई तुम्हें पढ़ा नहीं सकता, कोई तुम्हें पढ़ा नहीं सकता, कोई तुम्हें आध्यात्मिक नहीं बना सकता, तुम्हारी आत्मा के अलावा कोई और गुरु नहीं है. So you have to be very serious for your studies. You have to devote your 100%. You have to give your 100% honesty and devotion. अगर आप जहाँ पे अपनी honesty दिखाते हो, जहाँ पे आप 100% देते हो, devotion देते हो, वहाँ पे आपको किसी चीज को learn करने की या ऐसे like रट्टू तोता बनने की जरूरत नहीं है. So you can be able to learn also by understanding the concept. So only is you have to be very loyal for your studies. कुछ मैं आपको न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के बारे में भी बताना चाहती थी कि एज यू नो कि न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 अनाउंस हुआ है. सो क्या है उसमें, उसके बारे में मैं भी कुछ थोड़ा सा ओवरव्यू दे रही हूँ. In this, the 10+2 board structure is dropped. New school structure up to 5 preschool, 6 to 8 mid school, 8 to 11 high school, and 12 onwards graduation. Any degree will be of 4 years. 6 standard onwards vocational courses available. From 8 to 11 student can choose subjects. All graduation courses will have major and minor subjects. For example, like science student can have physics as a major subject and music as a minor subject. Any combo he can choose or she can choose. All higher education will be governed by only one authority. UGC, AICTE will be merged. All university, government, private, open, deemed, vocational, etc. will have same grading and other rules. UGC, AICTE will be merged. New teacher training board will be set up for all kinds of teacher. In country, no states can change. Same level of accreditation to any college based on its rating. College will get autonomous rights and funds. New basic learning program will be created by government for parents to teach children up to 3 years in home and for preschool 3 to 6. Multiple entry and exit from any course. Credit system for graduation for each year student will get some credits which he can utilize if he takes break in course and come back again to complete course. All schools exam will be semester wise twice a year. The syllabus will be reduced to core knowledge of any subject only. More focus on student practical and application language. For any graduation course, if student complete only 1 year, then he will get the basic certificate. If he completes the 2 year, then he will get the diploma certificate. If he complete the full course, then he will get the degree certificate. So no year of any student will be wasted if he break the course in between. All the graduation course feed of all universities will be governed by the single authority with capping on each course. We can hope our education system will be at par with developed countries and future of our children will be bright. So thank you so much. And again, I will say that I'm coming live in the next session on coming Sunday. So फिर मिलेंगे, तब तक के लिए bye, जय हिंद.